Right, that is what we're going to be learning today. And that is what I've just played there is both the verse and the chorus. And I've just been using a basic strumming pattern there. So to put this in context of the rest of the song, structure-wise, which is all downloaded for you, so you can have a good look at that. We're starting off with the intro that we've already learnt, which is all the nice little, all those little bits there, which are really, really nice to play. So that's the intro where you're playing a set number of chords twice, for the second time with the lead solo being played over the top, which we'll be learning in week 4. Then it goes into 2 verses. So what I've just played there is played twice. After that, then we go into the intro again, where there's a bit of sort of guitar and sort of vocals, and that just plays the intro sequence of chords once instead of twice, like at the beginning. And then we go into the chorus, which is exactly the same as we've played there, using that same strumming pattern, but maybe I'll show you some, well, I will, not maybe, I'll show you some accentuations, some different things to be putting into maybe the second verse and the chorus, just to lift it up a tad. And then it just ends and fades with the intro chords played over and over again, which what we will do in our bonus week is do our own solo and a bit of, we'll do some basically improvisation and create our own solos. So you can actually be Gary Gilmore? Gary Gilmore. Well, it could be, I suppose, if you want to play a solo like that. You'll be David Gilmore. Gary Gilmore, I don't know, sorry. David Gilmore for a day. So yeah, so that's how it's all going to pan out. So now we have the structure. I think the first thing to do is just quickly talk you through the chords in the sequence that they're played, although you should know already. So we're going to start off with a C, then it's going to go to a D, using that F sharp bass there, which I'll show you when that comes in, or where I put it in. Then we go back to A minor, and we're going to the G. And we're going to play the same G chord as we did in the intro, using that D note, the 3rd fret of the B string as well. Then we go back down to the D with the F sharp bass again. Then we're going to go to C, then A minor, and then we end up on that G. And then it just runs it all round again. So that would be verses 1 and 2. So when I was listening to this, so you might have figured out already, the actual intro acoustic guitar is also is played on a 12 string. So you can hear that, but obviously we're only using a 6 string. So that's the first thing to note. But when you're actually playing the chords here, what you can really hear on the, and I don't know, it's 1 and 6 string and 1 12, I don't know, or 2 6, but when you listen on your headphones like that, I said I had small hands, but they're covering up my big ears, all right? So when you actually listen to it, you've got 2 different guitars going on. One's playing one rhythm, one's playing another rhythm, and they're almost like sort of competing, but it works so well. So I gather that they just probably put 2 rhythm guitars down and said, yeah, that works quite well, and let's fill it out and put it in the record, because obviously when you hear the record as a whole, you won't hear the 2 different rhythms. So I've just got a rhythm that I think fits really well, taking both of those 2 into account, and also looking at the live performance. There's a couple of great acoustic live performances which play something totally different as well. In fact, they play different chords as well, but let's not bother about that, because that's what these top rock stars can do. Right, so we're going to start off on the C chord. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the rhythm to you that I'm using. And it's not an exact science, but it's pretty much an exact science. And then I'm going to use the muted strings so you can get used to it. So it's like this. So I exaggerate it a bit, like that. Okay, so what we're doing here, we're starting off with a downstroke, and then we're going to do an up and a down. But all the time, we're going to keep our hand moving. So it's just keep doing that, like that, and you'll eventually be able to go like that. That's your first thing. So you're keeping that hand moving. It doesn't matter if you hit the notes in between, because as long as you do it quietly, and it's because it will just add a bit more depth to it. But exaggerated, it's like that. And then we're doing to the upstroke, up and down strokes consistently after that. And if you keep your hand moving, and again, it doesn't matter if you hit those strings gently, like that. And let's go back and play the C chord. Okay, so that rhythm pattern is played twice on each chord. So just to recap, C, D with F sharp bass, A minor, G, D, C minor, C major, A minor, G, okay? So what we're going to do first of all is just going to play that rhythm through with those chords after a count of 4. And then I'm going to show you something that we do on the D note as well, using that F sharp bass there. Okay, so after a count of 4, we're going to play that rhythm. And I'm going to play that rhythm starting off with the muted strings so you can get into it. Okay, so it's... One, two, three, four. And that's all there is to it. It is that simple. Right, so that is a verse for you, okay? So, in between that, there's a D chord. Well, in between that, no, as part of it, there's a D with an F sharp bass. Now, I was watching the live version, and they are playing the F sharp bass there, and they play it like that, but they're playing it like that, and I don't actually see them hitting that F sharp chord. So I've had a good listen to the record, and I think he plays one full chord in the middle of it. So, what I mean by that, if we're playing the D chord riff, we're going... That's when we're putting that F sharp note in. So it's... And then with the rhythm... Now, like that. Now you don't have to do that, you can play it straight away, it's up to you, but I just think that sounds quite nice, just gives a nice full sound just before you start that big sort of like regular rhythm pattern there. So literally that's all there is to it. So what you need to do now is just get that rhythm down, just keep playing it over and over again. Don't worry about going in for verse 1 to verse 2. We'll concentrate on all that in a minute. So you've got those chords and that rhythm. Keep practicing it and practicing it until you're totally confident that you've got it, including that D with the F sharp there. When you think you've nailed that and it sounds nice and the rhythm is as near as you can get it to, and you actually got a nice flowing hand, look, my hand doesn't stop, like that. And it doesn't matter if you play the odd note in between, the strum in between, because it's still in time, and you'll tend to play it a lot more softly and quieter, so it really doesn't matter. But that's the basic key element of, or that's the key elements of the strumming pattern, taking the two parts from the actual record. Okay, and now we've gone that far, I think it's time for a little practice.